things on the History Channel, and there's some fascinating shows on all the time, and one of them is all about the mysteries of the Masons, the Masonic temples, and all the different things that they did, and the secrets that they hid, and all the other things. There's a lot. And I'm not a Mason, and if I was, I wouldn't be able to tell you the secrets, supposedly. But there's a lot of indication, and I don't know this for sure, but there's a lot of indication that the secret of the Masons was about protecting the feminine energy of planet Earth. And that, well, that is exactly what this is about, because the feminine energy is the creative energy that we tend to bowl over with the masculine energy many times. And that's changing in a lot of our different areas. And I don't know that for sure, but I kind of feel that way. I kind of when you hear something, it rings true. That one rang true to me, so I thought I'd pass it on, but I don't know that. I'm not a Mason myself. But there's a lot of these hidden secrets. And a lot of the hidden secrets, the group says, are about the feminine energy and about to become less of a secret in front of all of us.
Well, I think the feminine energy, the strength of it has always been there in a quiet way.
That's it.
You know, they've always said to be behind every great man is a good woman.
It's only because a man's louder most of the time.
But now they can say behind every great woman is a good man.
There you go. There you go. Good. All right. Did we read? I think we already got this one. We're almost at the end of the reading portion, so wanted to bring that in.
Some lovely pictures.
These are the sexual energy infusions that and of course this is a picture by a very dear friend of ours, Janos. Some of you may know him from Holland. He's a very famous inspirational artist who we've actually done some work with him and love him, but he's given us permission to use some of his work, and this one just fit it because we are constantly receiving infusions of this light from home, and it's important to keep in mind. Now here's one. Yes, this is a professional, but look at her eyes. Just look. You can see. You can see the smile forming. You can see the energy coming up. Now there's one other thing that I'm going to share with you here as we go through some of these pictures, because I have a few more for you. But many times we are used to making eye contact, but we're also used to, because we're used to that, we're also used to putting up this filter. And when we make eye contact with somebody, right away we put up this little bit of a filter so they can't see us. It would be really difficult if she saw who I really was. That's kind of the way we feel. So we put up this little smoke screen, and it's very unconscious, and it even works when you look at somebody directly in the eye. Many times you're going to see the sexual energy sneak out of somebody when they're looking out of the corner of their eyes. And that's what I wanted to share with you here. You'll see some pictures of that and some illustrations of that. She is not looking at him directly. She's kind of glancing at him from the side. Many times when a person is trying to hold or project, if let's say you're trying to impress somebody, okay? I'm always trying to impress her. But, but let's say you're trying to impress. So you're basically sending out this energy. You got the smile on your face, and some of it's genuine, and some of it's this little fuzzy thing that's going out here. When you look at somebody from the side and you sneak over there, it's gone. You can't filter it. So we tend to see sexual energy in people sometimes when we're not expecting it. Sometimes we'll look over at somebody on the airplane or something, and they're looking at somebody else, and you can just see their energy growing, because basically it comes out many times that way as well.
Well, didn't the group say that usually people, when they look at a person, they will connect with the left eye? And didn't the group say that if you look in their right eye, that's sexual energy?
It starts the sexual energy.
It.
Well, people present themselves with their right eye. It's their
with their left eye.
With their left eye. It's basically, if you are presenting yourself, you're basically coming in like this, even if you are right eye dominant. So basically, you're coming in, and it's how we shake hands. It's how we do everything else. So typically, the spirit can be seen easier in the left eye, and we use a lot of those exercises. If you stare for a long time and actually break that little bit of a filter there in the right eye, it stirs the sexual energy. And we know that because we used to do it a lot in our courses, and we had to go, okay, we're going to stick with the left side.
When we did our seminars in person, it was a lot of fun to play with.
It was kind of confusing for people because all of a sudden they'd be looking at somebody and stir a feeling they weren't quite familiar with.
We were all going around saying, don't look in the right eye.
Don't look in the right eyes, exactly. So, or if you do, just get lost.
Enjoy.
Okay, let's see where we're going here. How and when do we use it? Oh my God, we use it all the time.
If we allow ourselves to.
Exactly. Well, the biggest thing about this is we block it. Like I said, we filter it. If you look at somebody and they go, oh, the next time you look at them, you're going to kind of sneak into their vision. You know what I mean? And we have learned to do that with our sexual energy. We have absolutely learned to look away. More women than men, because women are more of the vulnerable energy in the sexual energy than men. So typically what happens, if you make eye contact with somebody on the train, in the airplane, in wherever it is, grocery store, it doesn't make any difference. You make eye contact with somebody, usually two people would smile at each other. But that's not usually what happens. Usually what happens when two people actually make eye contact, they look away. They break the contact.
I have really gotten better at this because, early on in our relationship, I thought, I'm married. I can't look at other guys. And if I would see somebody who I found attractive, I would tend to look down. And I think now, of all the many years, that I just lost the opportunity to have just a second with somebody else. Just a smile, to enjoy each other's company for a second. And
that's why I don't know who turns you on, because you always hide it when somebody that does turn you on, I don't know who that is.
Oh, not now. No, I'll stare at them. No.
Great.
No, I feel more comfortable, and now I have a human exchange.
That's it.
With another person, and that's what it is, and it can stimulate the feeling of like, oh, he just by sharing that made me feel more like a complete person, like a woman. It was nice.
And what actually happens, according to the group, when she opens that up, more of her own spirit comes into her body. That's actually what happens. She's able to carry more of her own spirit when she opens that up.
And like I said before, it says, once that is opened up, I'm feeling good about myself, yes. I'm feeling attractive, I feel confident, and then I come home and I'm more loving to him.
Well, and other people see it. Usually somebody will comment to you at the checkout or, something else. Somebody else will comment how beautiful you are today or something, or how glowing you are, and they've never seen you before. It's because they're picking up on that energy. We use this all the time. We have only typically studied or worked with sexual energy in the bedroom. And that needs to stop because we have it all the time. We deal with it all the time. It's the base of the creative energy on planet Earth.
It's nothing to be feared. That's
really
the biggest sentence I could say to you, because that's what it used to be. When I wouldn't share that glance with a person, it was like, oh, fear. I can't have that wanting to look at another person when I'm committed to my husband. That's not about it at all. It's just sharing a moment with someone.
That's it. You've got two spirits. Now, if she has a moment of beautiful connection with a spirit in some place, and is that going to take away from my relationship in some way with her? Absolutely not. We just said it was the absolute opposite. Mm-hmm. She'll come home and she'll say, oh, the butcher made a pass at me, or the butcher said something nice to me, and guess who gets all that sexual energy? So it works as long as we lose the fear of it.
But I do have to say that maybe before, when I wasn't comfortable with doing it, is because I was younger, and I think young women do have a fear of a man will misunderstand their smiling at them or something.
Well,
so it's a fine line.
That's a shame, and that we need to change in the men. Quite honestly, we've got a lot of men here today too. This is not just women.
Right.
There's a lot of men here, and us men have to take responsibility for making that safe, because our aggressiveness on the masculine side, which is a balance. If you keep it in balance, it's fine. But many times, the feminine's gotten out of balance and the masculine's gotten out of balance. And that's where we need to find this balance, and we can take a responsibility, much like maybe the Masons did, to make it safe on this planet for feminine energy.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean I'm putting her on a pedestal or anything else. But it means all of us, all together, have been out of balance, and we can start working with that.
You know, another way, I think you might have mentioned it, to connect with a person with this wonderful felt energy is by compliments. You know, we were at the hardware store, of all places, last week, and for Steve's birthday, I bought him this really nice jacket. He looks so good in it. And I could tell him he looked good all day long. He'd say, well, thank you. Well, the girl at the checkout counter said, oh, you look so good in that jacket. He was beaming. We had a great day.
I couldn't go wrong from that day on.
And so often, especially women, will not compliment men. And it was harmless. You know,
well, and of course you were
real.
with me. If I was by myself, it would have been a little awkward situation for her, maybe. I don't know.
Yes.
But we can get past all this stuff.
But men are more free to say, you look very nice.
I do it. I make a point to do this. And sometimes people kind of feel like I'm coming on too strong, but most of the time in a seminar, they know how much I'm in love with her, so I'm not a threat to people. But basically, I will walk up to somebody and say, you are gorgeous. You are just beaming, or I'll say something like that because I mean it. It doesn't mean I want anything from them or I want to control them in any way.
I think that's becoming less of an issue as we are learning to really feel each other's energy. Yep. And I'm not talking just sexual energy, but you can tell if a person's in integrity or if they're lying or if they're really coming from the heart. So I think that this misunderstanding of sharing time together, just a quick moment to share a smile or something, can be understood more today.
I believe it. Let's keep moving here. We got a couple more to go. How do we use it? We use it all the time, of course.
Sexual energy is used all the time. It is a bit you said. It is what allows your spirit to pretend to be human. You flow the most energy when your spirit is well anchored within the physical body and when you are creating.
This is what they have been talking a lot about, our grounding. We, humanity, has had a challenge grounding since we went through this portal. We went through the portal between the 12th of December and the 21st of December of 2012. Now we're in a new world, and we're still having difficulty anchoring. And for many, many, many years, the group talked about the fact that we were going to fill with more of our own spirit. Well, if you just take that as a very simple illustration of a balloon, a hot air balloon, we're going to fill it full of hot air. Well, your hot air just got increased by double. So what does that mean? That means you're going to need grounding in order for you to be in your body and on the earth. So you may need a few more sandbags to hold you down while you're getting ready to take off for your trip.
That doesn't mean gaining weight.
No, it doesn't mean that. But what it means is that's the restriction of sexual energy. We don't ground. We're afraid of that part of ourselves. We think it's an animalistic part. It's not spiritual.
We have to be in control.
The group could not disagree more with that. And that's what we're going to share with you. We're going to go through this. We've been talking a lot about balancing the sexual energy. We're not going to be talking a lot about that because we just finished a 4-day course on that. So you can go back and especially watch the first day, which is free, if you'd like to, about the balancing sexual energy. This is going to be about removing the barriers and letting it shine all the time through us, letting our eyes express our spirit. How's that?
Well, it's like any part of life. If you just flow with it, then life just runs a little easier. And it's from everything, the way you're doing your job to your sexual energy, any part of your life. If you just lose a little bit of the control and flow and understand more about yourself this way.
We are carrying more of our own spirit, so therefore we are naturally carrying more of our own sexual energy. Let's learn how to deal with it comfortably. That's the idea. Okay. Here's the fun stuff. Is this sexual energy? Absolutely. Of course it is.
I don't know if the man likes it, though.
I got a feeling the man actually made it, but that's okay.
No, that was his neighbor.
Okay, so we see it all the time. You see it when people are laughing. Now, does that mean that these people are having sex? No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. It means that they are full of life force sexual energy. That's the beautiful part about it. And again, we're talking about professional models. It's actually very difficult to tell what that really looks like because they go out of their way to make their eyes bright or appear that way anyway.
Now that's the most beautiful picture I've ever seen. There's nothing sexier than a big man just cuddling a baby.
Yeah, there
It
it
shows
is.